I actually played a decent amount of games this year, though many of the games were old and the games I actually did play from this year were pretty short and small. With the Switch now about to be discontinued and the PS5 finally reaching the stage where it might start getting games, though probably not, 2024 has been a weird year where a lot of the games seem to be very small in scope, but I feel like I say that every year. Nintendo have mostly been putting out smaller titles or remakes since they are saving big stuff for the Switch too. And Sony and Microsoft seem to be unreleasing stuff by either cancelling games after releasing them, or closing down studios after spending millions on the games. Like last year, I will go over many different games based on different criteria, and then at the end give my top games of the year. But this time it will be slightly different. Starting with dishonourable mentions, the games I thought were okay but had issues that really annoyed me, and make them worse than they needed to be. First up is Persona 3 Reload. I love Persona 5, but this game just didn't wow me as much as that game did. Certain aspects are similar, but it just feels like a lesser evolved version of 5, with less shit to do and more annoying stuff to go through. Obviously that makes sense because it came out before, but this game came out this year and I don't care. The other game is Zelda Minish Cap. For years I've heard non-stop praise about how this is the best 2D Zelda, but now I've actually played it, I really don't think it is. It's not bad, but there are so many things about it that annoy me, like the trading sequences with the stones, the confusing back and forth quests where you have to go to get an item, then go back and forth without them telling you what you actually need to do. I got stuck multiple times where the game didn't actually tell me what I had to do. Along with the dungeons not being that crazy, I don't think it comes close to Link Between Worlds. But I'll say more in my full review when I get around to that in like a billion years. Another game is The Plucky Squire, which had a unique gimmick of being able to go from 2D to 3D. Kinda like Super Paper Mario, but not at all really, because the way it does it is completely different. At first I thought the gameplay would be Zelda-like, considering the main character is in a top-down perspective, and uses a sword. But in reality the gameplay is nothing like Zelda, with you mostly talking to characters and doing teleportation-based puzzles, by reacting to the book and changing parts of the story to progress. The game is very hit and miss, with it being fun at times, but incredibly slow and boring at others. It would be nice to just get a normal 2D Zelda-like game, without any weird sidesteps. But every time it seems to have to go in a direction that makes it completely different to what I would want. And the last game is Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Another game people don't shut up about, and I have to say, completing this game is not worth it. Playing it normally without getting every collectibles is fine enough. But there are so many annoying ones you have to get to complete it, and the reward you get at the end is complete shit. Very much like Mario Sunshine, and where playing it is fine enough, but completing it is a complete waste of time. Also, a lot of the voices sound nothing like the original characters, and I thought that was very jarring. Now for honourable mentions, games I liked but for various reasons didn't make it. First off is Boomerode, which is more of a tech demo than an actual game, but it's basically this weird hoverboard game, where you use a boomerang to fly across the world. It was released alongside 2 other games as part of this dev program by Bandai Namco, so I'm not sure if this will get remade as a bigger game or if it's just a one-off, but I hope it does because I like the idea and I would play more of it if they made it into a full game. Last year I talked about Mamade no Bakaru from Goodfeel, which actually got an English release this year, as well as a PC port, which was surprising. But we also actually ended up getting another game by then this year, and a Mario game no less. Well, kinda. Princess Peach Showtime is a very short and sweet game with a lot of variety. It's another game I haven't had time to finish yet, but each level is very unique with you wearing different costumes that completely change the gameplay. It's kinda like a minigame collection, with each level showing off different gameplay mechanics. My favourite level is one where you're a ninja and have to hide from enemies in a Japanese dojo kind of place. There are also these detective levels where you have to solve puzzles, which I'm not too big of a fan of. Either way, there are so many different levels that even if you don't like some, there are so many there will probably be one you do like. The variety makes it so you don't easily get burnt out on it, and the levels are very replayable with them offering many collectibles. Lastly, I want to talk about Indiana Jones, which only just came out, so I couldn't get too far into it. But from what I played, it lives up to the expectations I had. It feels as close as you could get to a video game version of the movies, with enough story elements and game elements to appease both mediums. I will say the game is a bit too easy, with enemies not being hard to kill unless you manage to get a load of them on you at once. And getting around the world is a bit annoying with you having to do a load of backtracking since the teleportation system is kinda crap. But overall I'm having a lot of fun with this game, and have been doing most of the side quest content due to how engaging it is. And now for my final 5 games of the year. Number 5. Now when I said I wanted a new 2D Zelda game, they actually did make one. but by 2D Zelda, they meant CDI Zelda. When you compare RZ to Wand of Gamelon, it probably is better, which is not saying much, but the game is still very good. The music is amazing, the story is interesting, the feeling of the crappy cutscenes is there, but calling them crappy is kind of irrelevant, since the cutscenes were the best part of the CDI games to begin with. Either way, I found the games to be fun while offering callbacks to those games which weren't so fun. They even had a Hotel Mario bonus minigame. The only thing I'll say is that the game is a bit short, with it only taken about 4 hours for me to finish. But I don't mind it that much, considering that's how long most games used to take to finish, and I like short games anyway, since it means less filler. Number 4. I have never really gotten into visual novels, but Raincode is a game that's interactive enough to be enjoyable. The visuals are also nice, with a unique anime cyberpunk style, similar to Astral Chain. The game is about you being a detective and solving crimes by weird methods. The gameplay is pretty simple with you just choosing the right option without much thought. It's still somewhat challenging, but nowhere near the level of something like Ace Attorney, where you have to pick a random item without a clue where the right one is. Either way, the atmosphere in the game makes up for it, along with the music being very nice and adding to the atmosphere. Number 3. I have a confession to make. Until this year, I have never beaten Mario 3. You can now leave the video. Of course I played it a lot, but I never managed to actually go through the entire game beating every level without using save states or a warp whistle. And it's pretty good. I don't know if it's my favourite Mario game of all time. I still feel like I prefer Mario World, and control-wise, the new Super Mario Bros. Games feel better to me. But in terms of level design, most of the levels are pretty great, aside from a couple stupid ones. The game is definitely a lot harder than Mario World, but at least they give you unlimited continues, with the castles being destroyed permanently, something that Mario 2 does not do for no reason, and makes it way worse to play. Number 2. PlayStation has had a pretty rough couple of years. Most of their games have been coming to PS4, and the one game that was only available on PS5 came out on PC. But finally, this year, they managed to get one game to prove the PS5 has games. And that game is... Concord! Oh my god, this game is so great, the character designs are on par with Mario, and I'm just kidding. It's not a PS5 exclusive. Astrobot is the first game since Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, where I actually had some fun playing a PS5. It's by no means perfect, the game relies a bit too much on collectibles, and only really the final level is actually difficult. But the levels are great fun to play through, with them containing many references to PlayStation's long history. They also have these themed levels where they take an existing PlayStation franchise, like Uncharted or God of War, and make it work within Astrobot, which I thought was pretty cool. Overall, this game is simple fun, and I hope it sends a message to Sony that simple is what people want, not these overly expensive cinematic movie games. Now, for my game of the year, which may or may not be a surprise, is Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. It's no secret that I have not been a big fan of the current Zelda trajectory, but this is the first time in a while where a Zelda game actually feels like Zelda. It's not perfect, of course, the dungeons have serious issues, and it's still using the same Link to the Past map again, but it's actually really fun. And even though the puzzles rely on the echoes a lot, I still find them engaging and fun to solve, even when they are simple and easy. It's a massive difference to Tears of the Kingdom, where I didn't find the puzzles fun at all to solve, and are mostly tedious garbage that I had to get through. Echoes of Wisdom also has a lot of cool minigames, and side quests that make it fun to 100%, especially considering there isn't too much content to find, making the game easily completable. Though some of the collectibles are a pain and I had to look a few of them up. All in all, I'm just glad we got another Zelda game that I was excited to play, and can look back on with good memories. Now we just need a good 3D Zelda as well. Okay, so what were your favourite games of the year? Hopefully next year we finally get the Switch 2, but at this point, who the hell knows? Anyway, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time on the next fucking video. Bye-bye.